I've seen like so much of this stuff. We've literally grown up on fractals and chaos theories and geometry in nature. And I think some of the notions that you're speaking about have been tackled by a lot of people, like in the 70s, 75s. So, I mean, I'm trying to understand this as a bunch of individuals that have gathered here, coming in from different disciplines and different experiences. And I, for one, I mean, this is almost like second nature to some of the stuff that we do. And I'm trying to find out from you, where do you see this headed in your own professional endeavors on your work? Do you want to dedicate your life to this?
No.
Which is really not a bad thing.
No. First of all, I think I'm very flexible about, the projects that I do. I get into the mold of it. This is just a project that I was very passionate about, and the point that I wanted to convey is, and also to show that to what levels of intricacy and to what passion I went into the project doing the same. It's nothing to do with whatever I'm doing in my future. I might be doing something completely different. It's just the point that I wanted to convey.
Have you explored this in the digital domain? Have you started?
When I started, it was a 6-month long project. So when I started doing the project, I was expressing it very technically, and I was delving into the matter very technically. And the reason why I got so troubled, and at a point I thought I'll just skip the whole theme because the formulas and the mathematical formulas. But eventually I realized that after understanding so much about fractals, I need not to express them very mathematically for this particular design project. I could just take them, say, visually, or to understand the basic concept of what is happening there.
You seem to have a very interesting background in terms of fashion accessories. So what made you turn to furniture? Because they're so different.
Yeah.
So what made you do that?
Fashion accessories was as I said, it was my background from NIF, but I was, my whole course in NIF, I did projects related to graphic design. I ended up doing a space design project. I was working with craft sectors. I was just wanting to explore a lot. Those 4 years I will not call a specialization. It was more of explorations in every field that I did. After accessory design, I felt that it was a little too vague for me. I wanted to, go specifically and deal specifically to some topic, which I thought the nearest was furniture design.
Do you want to use these fractals to design furniture?
Yeah.
Something with a little abstraction? Is that the core idea?
I don't know if I'll, as a designer now, I'm still a student. I'll get projects from outside, from clients, whatever the needs are. But probably yes, because when I talk about fractals, also I say that they are very structurally stable and everything, and they are sustainable models in themselves. So of course, at levels, still without knowing them, we would use them.
Let's assume you use this concept to make a particular piece of furniture. What kind of material do you think would be adaptive to this?
That's a very subjective question because I say fractals are sustainable doesn't mean that they are eco-friendly in a particular context or a project. The thing that I have to focus on is the concept of the fractal and the structures, and whatever material suits it the most. I am flexible about that.
What I would have probably liked to see, because this was almost like Fractal 101, kind of it's just a discussion on what fractals are. But I would have probably liked to see more of your interpretation or kind of how one can use fractals more poetically. And examples or specific examples of work of other designers or around the world that have inspired you using fractals.
Okay, actually, I wanted to speak a little then, and I had only one slide dedicated to it. But yeah, there are these things from music to structures to now furniture systems, which designers have utilized with fractals. And as I said, these study of these ancient colonies in Africa and everything, they reveal the fractal nature of evolving also. So a lot of people are working on it, but fractals and their physiological effects, how they can function for the well-being of interiors and exteriors, the body and the space around. It is still a topic which is of much speculation because nothing very concrete as an evidence has proven the effect of it. But people are working on it.
Just wondering, if you made any physical models, what were the tools that you used, or how did you get a point exactly at that coordinate at a certain angle?
Okay,
Did you find any challenges, or did you find any...
Plotting the geometry was very important. For example, if you remember the first fractal, how much the forms twist even after you consider the thickness of the pipes and everything, and what would be the distances between them, so that standing at a point you see very uniform gradation. Those are some of the things that were considered. And even the other forms, how easily can they be made? For example, the tree branching pattern, their units were developed at every level. Like the final unit would have a base which can be bolted to each unit, and the topmost unit can then have tensile fabric stretched on it. Details on that level were developed, but not prototyped. A very crude translation of these concepts into physical forms was done, but it was at a very 1:5 scale.
So you've identified gaps in the process, and what's the way forward? Where do you go from here?
As in specifically to this project?
No, interest in fractals.
With my interest in fractals, I would say that after this project, I haven't replicated this particular design process to any such project, but it has helped me very much in furniture design, because there I'm looking at structures, I'm looking at form stability. So there it was applied in a much indirect way. Other than that, I haven't really applied it after that, because it's just 1.5, 2 years that I did this project.